Hello there. Once again, Santown from Antonio Bay. Thank you guys for stopping by the collection room. It's Sunday morning. This is the day of the week I usually take some time and go through a short box of comics, sort them out, see what's in them, kind of take an inventory. So I've pretty much moved all of my comics from long boxes to short boxes a while back, but I don't know what's in any of them, and they kind of got shuffled a lot as you do videos and stuff. So it's really been sorting and taking an inventory of what's in there, and that's just what I've been working on. So that's what I do on a Sunday morning. Normally I get started a little earlier. It's a little later in the morning. You can maybe hear son in the other room getting a little bit upset, but I'm pretty sure this whole box looks like it's entirely made of Femforce comics. Now I know I've done a lot of videos on Femforce comics. I've done like a 1 through 100. A couple of them after that. I've had quite a few, like post 100 to 200. I've done reviews of some of the newer issues. Plus, I did a whole breakdown of just like the interiors, every page by page for the first 107 or 108 issues. So there's probably not anything in here you haven't seen before. But if you're not familiar with Femforce, if you're a little bit newer to the channel, or if you haven't run across some of the older stuff, Femforce started in earlier than that, but a lot of the characters are from the 40s, 50s, stuff like that. But the book itself, Femforce, started being published in 1985, issue number 1. It's still being published today. Good luck finding it. You can ask a comic book shop if they've ever heard of it, and they will just look at you blankly. Issue number 2, which is crazy because AC Comics has produced a lot of books over the years, and these are hosting characters that every comic book store should recognize and should know. Issue 4, we'll make sure we don't have any gaps here, but they don't seem to. I have already hit a gap. Issue 5 is out. Now I know I have issue 5 because issue 5 happens to be one of my favorite comic book covers of all time. But it does mean I'm going to have to locate it because I probably was doing something else with it. But I have issue 6. Then we go to issue 7. Now this is some earlier work from an artist named C. Bradford Gorby. And I have at times kind of bashed on some of his early art efforts as not being that great. But he actually comments in my videos and lets me know that he can take constructive criticism. He's a pretty cool guy. I've got a lot of information about like backstories and stuff, publishing and how they did stuff with the company from him, and I just think that's really cool, and I really appreciate his comments. And I hear he's back to drawing for him again. So after a big gap in time, I'm glad to hear that. I have not been able to pick up those issues, issue 13, but I look forward to. This is one of the better covers, in my opinion. I love this. You got people in tubes. Something about people in tubes is always a nice retro throwback to me. Sometimes we get these photo cover. I wasn't as big a fan of those. I like the flat out, just cartoon animated comic covers. So the book has always been, I mean, they do whatever they can to stay published, and I've pointed out a lot of times, sometimes they're color issues, sometimes they're black and white. They got to do what they got to do, but they keep cranking them out. The black and white stuff is fantastic. I do personally just love the color better because I just love how it pops. It really highlights some of the great artists that worked on the series. So, issue 24. Yeah, I feel like anybody who's a friend of this channel or has watched it much has probably seen all of these numerous times. This is a series that I love. It's a series I've gone through a lot. It is one that, even though I went through a phase where I sold a lot, like I had like 30, 40 years worth of X-Men comics and stuff like that in order and no gaps, like keys and all. And that was stuff that I had to sell. I sold it. I sold a whole long box full of Fantastic Four and all these other comics. But one of the books that I did not sell any of was Femforce. It was pretty racy cover. Femforce was really hard to get a hold of. Really hard to get a hold of. And I just knew if I ever sold out these or got rid of this is stuff I could probably never get back. It's just hard to track. But I got a solid, the first 100 issue run of it is really good. 100 to 200 is really rare. And I've been piecing it in when I can, but it is expensive and difficult. Also, not just for like replaceable factor, they were the comics that I liked. So Femforce is one of the reasons I started a channel. I was pretty interested. So this is the cover that I bashed on the most. This C. Bradford Gorby cover. But he was a real trooper about it. And I think he's a pretty cool guy. He's left a lot of really informative comments after that. And I'm glad to know that he's back with the company. But like I was saying, Femforce is one of the reasons that I made a channel, period. Because it was an interesting book that I kept coming across in like discount bins and stuff like that. And I tried to piece it all together. And I would try to look up comic book videos on YouTube because I love watching comic book videos. Couldn't find anything. Anytime I looked them up, and I was just like, I can't find anything on this book, and that was a bummer. And I was like, well, I'm going to start making content so that when somebody else goes to search for AC Comics, for Femforce, for books like this, that they find something, anything. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be like, I don't know a whole lot, but like, hey, these are out there, they exist. And that was the whole purpose of even starting a channel. So Femforce is one of my very, very early videos. It was not my first because I wanted to kind of practice a few times on other books. I think the first video I ever did was DN Agents, which was a short series, about 24 issues long. Also, nothing ever comes up when you look for DN Agents. And this just kept me going, which was nothing ever, there's no search results when you look for this. And so I just wanted to give somebody search results if they ever looked on YouTube for these things. And that is how I started making a channel. I always intended to just stick with hard to find rare books, but you know, I still love my normie books too. And you know, I did a lot of videos on Alpha Flight. I did the whole 100 through 130 issues, page by page. Like I said, I don't have tons of insider info or anything. It's nice. They had cosplayers working for them before the term cosplayer even existed. I think it's pretty cool. But where was I? Oh yeah, my normie books. There was stuff that I kept coming into that I was like, that's too cool. I got to share that. I'm excited about that. But when hard times hit, when the divorce happened, it's been quite a few years back now. And I was forced to sell a bunch of stuff, not just for money to survive and pay off debts, but also just for room. Things had gotten pretty out of hand. I had bought 2 massive private collections, and then I had bought the inventory of an old store. So I had 150 long boxes in my house. There's nowhere to keep all that. There's just too much. See, we're back in cover, and we got Batgirl, or not Batgirl, what's her name? Kitten? Kitten. I think it's Kitten. Miss Mask. Some classic characters in there. So, I still buy comics, obviously. Love them. But as far as getting, like, new ones, I don't. And as far as big mainstream normal stuff, not as much as I used to, ever. So here we go. We're up to issue 61. These are color. I apologize if you can hear a whole bunch of ruckus in the other room. It sounds like my son is His name's Alistair. He's 3 months old now. He's a very little boy. He gets pretty fussy. Sounds like his mom's changing him. Anyway, there's issue 62. So far, we're not having too many gaps. Issue 63. Man, it sounds like the craziness going on all over outside. This is probably my favorite era, issue 64, and some of my favorite characters. Terra and Giganta. The book has a big thing with giant women. As far as costume designs, my favorite will always be Stardust. Whenever you do with yellows and oranges, I love that. This is actually the very first issue of Femforce I ever came across. Stardust of the Femforce, and you know, that's maybe why I love her outfit the best. But it came in like a bundle of just random comics that me and my brother bought one time. And that got me started on these. It's issue 67. It's probably 12 or 13. 69. This is a beautiful cover with terrible colors. Like, I hate the colors in this. That fuchsia. I don't know. Issue 71. So yeah, I've mentioned that these are really hard to get in comic book stores. It's frustrating to try and buy them anywhere. Literally, they don't carry them in stock. No comic book store. I've driven clear across the country, and I've never found a comic book store that knows what they are, and B carries them. Like, they don't even know. They're just like, I've never heard of it. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Like, really? Never heard of it. Ever. Which I think is kind of an indicator of how much the comic collector world has changed. There is not guys like me in my age in anything at comic book stores anymore. It's all these younger kids who don't know what any of this classic stuff is. None of it. Like, and the thing is I don't buy what they have for sale anymore, and they're not even selling what I want to buy anymore. And I think a lot of older collectors are finding this, that like the comic book shops really aren't for us anymore. That's for the new audience of comic books. And that's mostly why they're all dying so quickly, because there isn't that much new audience. We want the old stuff. We want stuff that is like what we used to read, the classic stuff. It was like all this for like, I mean, it's clearly different, but the end of the 90s, like 1940 to year 2000, comics were pretty similar. Kind of the theme was all kind of there. You could get all over the place, but in different genres, but you essentially kind of knew what you were looking for. And then like after 2000, I don't know what happened. Comics like after that just don't click with me the same, and have no interest in them. Except for Femforce. I do have to give it to them. I have bought a few companies that still make comics that feel like old comics, and Femforce is one of them. AC Comics still produces books that basically feel exactly like a 1985 book, a 1995 book. 87th issue. This is the 10th anniversary edition. It comes with this signed thing in here, and this has all the signatures of everybody who worked on the book, and that's pretty cool. You know what? I'm gonna pop that open real quick. It comes with multiple art pages. I remember this. So there, I have Bill Black, C. Bradford Gorby, Mark Heike, Rebecca Black, and Christy, I can't make out that last one. It's just a sticker that's been signed and stuck in there. And then the book features these guys as well, written in it, which I think is fantastic. You get some mini art pages that were produced. It's just really cool. We get a little certificate, the pink thing in the back. Yeah, 10-year anniversary. Got that in a lot of stuff. I love that. Issue 88. 89. And I once again apologize for all the crazy sounds if you can hear them going on. If it's not a baby in the living room crying over being changed, my dog is going berserk in the backyard right now, as he is prone to do sometimes. He barks at people in the alley, which if you're in my alley, I think he ought to be barking at you. We're in Countdown to 100. This is issue 94. And then, let's see what we have. Issue 95. Once again, another one of those cool covers that they did. I don't like this cover. This is issue 96. They went with a weird, whatever you call it, anime cover. And then I found this stack off to the side. This is the Gap. So I got issue 97 as we close in on 100. Issue 98, we got Vincent Price. That's always good. 99, I don't like the side logos as much as I like the top banners. And issue 100, which I feel like isn't, like, they have much better covers. I feel like issue 100 just was kind of a letdown cover. It was fine, but could have been better. We got issue 101. This is just, it's the same. It's called the Yesterday Syndrome, but the titles and the progression of the book, it's still, you know, issue 102. 103, which I thought was a great looking cover. 104, Turn of the Metal Jaw guy. And we got 105. Then we put these over here because those are some gaps that happen later. Issue 106. The covers, I think, in my opinion, through this phase, I think it hurt them. Like if you saw this, if you were looking for Femforce, this does not immediately scream, oh, I found the next issue of Femforce. They changed covers a little too much in too many times during a certain time period. And in my opinion, made it very difficult, even for me, knowing what I'm looking for, to track some of this stuff. And I think 109, and then there's a big gap. At least for a lot of these. I have a 144. I probably have some more in here somewhere. Let me look. Yeah, hold on. I mean, if we're sorting them, let's get them sorted. Yeah, 113. We got 113, which is a small size issue. 117. Issue 140, which I actually didn't think I had it. And some guy was asking me to review this issue. And I didn't realize I had it. I'll have to do that. Then we can throw in issue 144. Then we go to issue 150. Now around this time, their cover price is $9.95. But they are, they're like 3 comic books in one. They're really thick. They're really thick. I don't know what was going on with them, but they were putting out a book that was almost square-backed because it was too big. 151. Double-sided. It's basically, like I said, 3 comics. Now I have, for some reason, 3 issues of 151. 152. They're so big that when they're in the box, they look a little weird. 154, because it looks like you've wedged like 3 or 4 comics in one pack, and the dividers start to look goofy. 157. 158, and man, this box is starting to feel pretty tight. 160. And what do we have here? Looks like I got some issues of Femforce Up Close and Harrow in Heaven. that don't go in this box. I'll show you what they are. Since it's Femforce Up Close, 1, 9, 10, 11, Night of the Demon, Heroin Heaven, which is another book that I've talked about quite a bit. It's number 3. Cauldron of Horror, so I always love those. And what was the last number I put in here? 160. I got issue 177, which is a square back, like square spine. It's a big, thick book. I think that might be all of them for quite some time. Clear up until issue 196. You can tell it's gone to a different style that's pretty distinctive. 197. And my box is actually getting too full. 198. 199. And this is when I started realizing I could pick these back up on eBay. And I got back in at issue 200. So I don't want to get off track again because they're very hard to get hold of. Issue 201, 202, and 203. Now I know I have 204 somewhere, but I don't know where that's at. We'll see if we can get these in this box. It's pretty tight, but it works. Pop the lid on that, and that's my whole box full of Femforce. I know there's a couple more issues in there, issue 5 and 207, and anytime I can and see them at a good price, like under 20 bucks, I will sometimes pick up those issues in the middle. It's just difficult. It's a long string to buy, and one that I hopefully will someday will have every issue, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Anyway, that's my Sunday morning video. That's my Femforce collection. My short box, it's packed. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy collecting. I'll catch you guys later.